We've all seen the aspirational trips that influencers take, whether to the nightlife of Vegas, the beauty of Rome, or an overwater villa in the Maldives. While it might seem like these types of trips are completely out of reach for a normal person, I want to show you how with a little bit of research, planning, and timing, they're a lot more attainable than you might think. Hey everyone, I'm Bradford with the Penny Pinter's Guide of Personal Finance. In this video, I'm going to break down what are the best ways to earn and then redeem Hilton Honors points and wrap up with some of the best examples that I've seen out there today. When it comes to earning Hilton Honors points, you really have three options available to you, going in order from best to worst. The first option available is just by spending a night at a Hilton property or resort. 2 is by using a Hilton branded credit card for your spending. And then 3 is by just purchasing those points directly through the Hilton Honors website. Now, option number 1 is going to be the best way to racking up those points the fastest. But how many points you earn per dollar spent at a Hilton property is going to be dependent on what your Hilton Honors loyalty status is. And the options here are going to go from member, silver status, gold status, and diamond status. While there are a lot of benefits that accompany each of the statuses, I'm going to focus specifically on how many points you're going to earn per dollar spent. Beginning with the member, you're going to earn 10 points per dollar spent. Silver status gives you a 20% bonus, so 12 points per dollar spent. Gold status is an 80% bonus, so 18 points per dollar spent. And then diamond status is going to give you a 100% bonus, so 20 points per dollar spent. Now, as you can see, it's quite a high threshold to actually earn these various statuses, which means a lot of separate stays or quite a few individual nights booked, which means a lot of money spent on your part. But probably the fastest way and the cheapest way to actually earn those statuses is by using a credit card that's going to confer those statuses to you automatically, which brings me to option 2 for racking up those Hilton Honors points, and that's by using a Hilton branded credit card. Now, Hilton has partnered up with AMEX, and they have 3 different options to choose from. Starting out the lowest end, which is going to be a no annual fee, AMEX Hilton Honors Card, which is going to give you automatic silver status. Next up is going to be the $95 annual fee, AMEX Hilton Honors Surpass Card. And then at the highest end is going to be the $450 annual fee, AMEX Hilton Honors Aspire Card. Now, each of these cards have various spending category multipliers, all of which are going to earn you Hilton Honors points. But as with any loyalty branded card, the best way to earn those points is by spending it with that company. And the same thing applies here. So starting again at the bottom, you're going to earn 7 points per dollar spent at a Hilton property, and that is going to stack with the silver status it gives you. So giving you a total of 19 points per dollar spent. In the middle, with the Surpass Card, you're going to earn 12 points per dollar spent, which stacks with the gold benefit of 18 points for a total of 30 points per dollar spent. And then the highest end, Aspire, is going to give you 14 points per dollar spent, stacked with the diamond benefit of 20, which gives you a total of 34 points per dollar spent. Now, when you use these, if you are staying at Hilton properties quite a bit, that is going to mean you're going to easily be able to rack up tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of points in a single year, which you can use for whatever type of trip you want. And then last, and usually least, is going to be the option of purchasing those points directly through the Hilton Honors website. Now, normally this is the absolute worst way to actually rack up those points because you're going to typically get a terrible valuation and you're vastly overpaying for what those points are worth. But sometimes they do run specials like the one they're running right now, where it's basically a buy one, get one free, which equates to a valuation of what you're paying for of 0.5 cents per Hilton Honors point. And with an average valuation of 0.6, that means you're basically getting them at a discount. And I'll talk a little bit more on the redemption side, but if you can get them at this valuation or better, I wouldn't say no in terms of buying the points, but normally it's really just helpful if you just need to top up a little bit of extra, few thousand points or a few tens of thousands of points to be able to use your existing points for the redemption that you're looking for. And so that's going to be the 3 best ways to actually earn those Hilton Honors points. And yes, before I get speared in the comments down below, yes, I know there are some other ways. There are limited time promotions where you can earn additional points, as well as you can use Lyft to earn some points when you spend with your credit card. But most of those are really not going to earn you a whole lot of points, and these are going to be the best ones to actually earn you enough points to be able to take the vacations that you want to take. And now for the fun part, actually redeeming those points, whether it's for a few more family vacations or for a once-in-a-lifetime trip that you've been eyeing for a while. When it comes to redeeming your Hilton Honors points, while there are a few different options in terms of redeeming those points, don't use a single one of them other than actually redeeming them for a night's stay at a hotel. Yes, you can cash them in for a gift card, or you could transfer them to like another airline partner or something like that, but all of those are going to severely devalue your points. Now, the only way I would ever suggest actually using that is if you just weren't going to use the points in the first place and you just want to use them rather than lose them because they do expire after 15 months of inactivity. So when deciding whether or not to actually redeem your Hilton Honors points, or rather just pay with cash instead, here's a few rules of thumb that I like to use. The first one is trying to get as close to 1 cent per point as possible. And the reason I'm using this valuation is because according to the points guy, each Hilton Honor point is worth on average 0.6 cents per point. So if I can get above that, I know I'm getting a pretty good valuation. If I'm getting below that, I'm probably, if I have the option to, I'm just gonna pay for that stay with cash, earn some more points that I can redeem towards something later at a better valuation. Now, obviously, if your only option is to pay with points, even if it's not a good valuation, that's the position you're in. Now, how do I figure out what sort of valuation I'm getting? I just take the cost of what it would be in cash for a single night stay, include all the taxes and fees, and then I divide that by how many points it would cost for the same thing. And the benefit here is when you book with all points, you don't actually have to pay any taxes or fees, which is especially helpful when you stay at a resort. So let's just say in this example, you have a $200 a night hotel and it costs 20,000 points. 200 divided by 20,000 is going to give you a 1 cent per point valuation. Now, another thing I like to do when I consider with booking with all points is I try to book in multiples of 5. The reasoning for this is if you have silver status or above, when you book with all points, if you book 5 nights in a row, you're going to earn the 5th night completely free. And this offer is valid up to 20 nights total. So if you book 20 nights all with points, you would get the 5th night, 10th night, 15th, and 20 nights free. And what this is going to do is give you an instant increase of 25% on your cent per point valuation. And then the last thing I try to think about when it comes to actually redeeming those points is typically you're going to get the best valuation at higher end properties, because you're going to get some sort of breakfast included if you have status, as well as the ability to earn and cover all the resorts fees and all the extra charges that you would normally have to pay if you were paying with cash. So thinking about La Waldorf Astoria, the Conrad, anything that's part of the Curio collection. If you're able to book a stay that's at a Hilton Grand Vacations property, any of these higher end properties, you're going to typically get the best valuation per point. Now, this isn't always true, and it's going to be dependent on the time of year and the demand and supply. Now, this isn't to say never use your points for a intro or mid-level Hilton property. You can definitely still get some good valuation there, but at least in my experience and the research I've done on this, you're typically going to get the best valuation at those higher end properties. Now let's take a look at some specific instances that I found in terms of what are going to be the best options to redeem your points for right now. So I pulled up 2 examples here. One is going to be in Park City, Utah, and the other is going to be in the Maldives and the Indian Ocean. And what I'm really trying to focus on is if you're able to just change the actual dates of your trip and find a time that's less high in demand, you can significantly increase the valuation that you're getting with a cent per point valuation. So the first one here in Park City, Utah. I mentioned normally you're going to get the best valuation of those higher end hotel chains. So we come down here, we have the Waldorf Astoria Park City. It's going to be a hefty 265,000 points per night when you're actually staying here. But what I want to focus on is this is going to be considered a premium room reward. This is going to be contrasted to a standard room reward. So how much would it normally cost if we were going to actually stay for all 5 nights, trying to get that 5th night free with all points at this Waldorf Astoria Park City? So looking at option 1, that would normally cost us $3,692.46. Now we compare that to the $256,000 times 4, because we're only going to pay for 4 nights. Basically what that's going to do is that's going to give us $3,692.46 divided by 1 million. And that's going to give us a really bad valuation in terms of per point. We're still getting less than 4 cents per point, even with that 25% multiplier and the 5th night being free. Now, what if we change the dates up, and if instead of doing it in October, we just change it to a slightly different date? We actually push it back into December. Hopefully you're gonna have snow on the ground then, and this is a ski resort. So we look, the same place is gonna only cost 95,000 points per night, and it is now a standard room reward. So you can have the same room that is gonna be a premium room reward on some dates, be downgraded to a standard room reward on other dates. And typically you're gonna get a much better valuation. Now with the same one, when we take into account all of the taxes and fees, you're gonna be paying almost the same amount of money, but significantly less points. In this instance, you would pay $3,350.62, but you'd only be paying 380,000 points. You're instead gonna get almost a 0.9 cent valuation, which is a solid 50% higher than what the average valuation in terms of cent per point. So if you can change your dates, And when you factor in all the taxes, all the fees, all the resort fees, everything together, you can actually take something that would normally cost you an exorbitant amount of points per night and drop it down to something that is a lot more affordable and is going to give you a great valuation. And with that example out of the way, I'm actually going to move us over to the Indian Ocean, to the Maldives, towards what I think is probably going to be the best valuation that you can hope to get right now when it comes to redeeming your Hilton Honors points. So one, taking aside the fact that it's going to cost you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, depending on your flight class, to actually get out to the Maldives. Once you get there, it's certainly not cheap. Looking at the Conrad Maltese, the Rangali Island, this is normally going to cost you 120,000 points per night. Now, you might think that's a pretty steep fee, but when you actually look at how much it costs if you were to pay with all cash, it's probably going to take your breath away. So we look at this. Normally, for the same 5 nights, it would cost you $6,836.25. That's just for a 5-night stay. That means you're averaging well over $1,200 per night. But if you decide to pay with all points instead, you're actually going to see you're going to be getting a pretty amazing valuation. So we look in here, we say $6,836.25 divided by 480,000 points. We're getting a 1.4 cent per point valuation for our Hilton Honors points. That is more than double what the standard valuation is. And that means instead of spending $6,800, you're only going to be spending less than 500,000 points. Now, when you compare that towards what it would cost right now if you went out and bought the points on the Hilton Honors website, you can get 320,000 points right now for right around $1,800. That gets you most of the way there towards actually having the stay. You just need to open like the Surpass card or something, meet the minimum spend. You would have 500,000 points, and you're only out at this point, what, like we'll call it $2,000 when you include the annual fee for the Surpass card. That means you would be spending $2,000, but getting almost $7,000 in valuation for that same amount. So if you can actually afford to get to the Maldives and you have enough Hilton Honors points, you can save thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in points by using them wisely. And I can say with that last option, when it comes to the Maldives, that's been one of my wife's bucket list items for quite a while now. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we're going to be able to take advantage of those awesome rates I was showing you. And hopefully, if they're still in play, we'll be taking a nice 10-day vacation out there, taking advantage of the 5th and 10th night free. Now, if you're interested in if any of those credit cards I mentioned earlier are going to be any value for you, I highly recommend checking out the first one, the AMEX Hilton Honors Card right there. I want to thank you for watching with me today. And until next time, just remember, we're here to help from your first penny to your first million.